Welcome to the Foothills, a Colorado lifestyle and real estate podcast featuring mountain home real estate broker Robert Martin, who has over 25 years of experience assisting clients reach their goals and move forward. Tune in each week for a dynamic conversation with experts, Colorado adventurers, and residents that explores the ins, outs, and specific nuances of buying the perfect mountain home or selling your dream home in Evergreen, Conifer, Bailey, and surrounding areas to catch a glimpse into the Colorado lifestyle that's a part of you.
Thanks for tuning in today. Our guest today on the podcast is Athena Brownson. Athena, how are you today? And thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here, and it's another beautiful day in Colorado.
Absolutely. We have so many of those, we lose count. We're starting to see
True.
up here, I live in Conifer, and we're starting to see, when I first moved 2 years ago, it seemed like we'd have an afternoon shower every day. And we're starting to get that back. We didn't have that the last couple of years. So
I'm very
feels pretty
grateful
nice.
for that, huh?
Yeah.
We definitely need the moisture.
Yeah, for sure. You might remember that growing up in Breckenridge, as you know, that seemed to be more common.
Oh, every day, definitely.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and why you decided to stay in Colorado. What's it like being a native Coloradan?
You know, I'm one of the few rare native Coloradans, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. My parents, believe it or not, were a couple of ski bums that ended up in Breckenridge in the late 60s, actually. So they've been in Breckenridge for a very long time. And my dad started off as a home builder and over the years progressed into being a developer. So I came along, born in Denver, but raised in Breckenridge. And with that, you know, I was born in the world of construction and development. And I really didn't see myself being in that industry because it was kind of what my dad did. You know, I had memories of just being really cold and walking construction sites with him, and really connotated real estate with being overrun, because in Breckenridge, you can imagine there's more real estate brokerages,
for sure.
than t-shirt shops. So I actually went down the path of becoming a professional skier, which my dad also was. So I definitely took the approach of athletics over anything. And honestly, my route of really investing into athletics and being in that mountain town was probably the best business school I could have ever asked for. I think it's taught me everything that I ever needed to know about how to be a competitive real estate broker. And here I am.
Now, how did that get started, Athena? I mean, what was obviously having your father and your mother both into skiing, and then your father also a professional. How did that get started for you and come to pass?
Absolutely. So I learned how to ski around the same time I learned how to walk, believe it or not. I have fond memories of going up the Breck T-Bowl when I was too little to even, or T-bar, hold on to the bar. So I grew up on snow and just absolutely fell in love with it. And with that, I think I became very addicted. I would say it's an addiction to becoming better, to the idea that as a skier, you know, it's an individual sport. I'm an only child, so I've tended to be to like being in charge of my own success. And with skiing, you get what you put into it. So if you're going to be the first person on the chair, then and ski all day long, and then go to dryland training and, you know, take the beatings that your coaches, not physical beatings, I should say, metaphorical,
Sure. Yes.
that your
Workouts.
coaches would impart on us. It allowed you to be the best version of yourself, both as a human and as a skier. So my dad and his background in competitive skiing definitely got my foot in the door. But I think once my foot was in the door, I got addicted to the competitive aspect of it and to really wanting to be the best I could be. And when I turned, I believe I was 15, I got my first sponsor. And as a skier, you know, that's how, you know, you're making it. You're going pro. You can kind of start skiing full time. So I would go to school for, a couple months in the summer at a special ski school, and then ski about 300 days a year for about 10 years. And I had enough injuries at that point that I decided it was time to hang up the skis and try something else, so to speak. And I stumbled into real estate not too long after that. But
I could see how, like you said, then you could apply that to anything and success in life, the habits and the work ethic you develop. And so when you were skiing, you skied all over the world in different competitions for those 10 years?
I did. So a typical year for us would be starting off in Colorado. We had some of the earliest mountain openings, starting off at A Basin, then when Brecken Vale opened, going over to Brecken Vale. And then when it came January, we'd do the X Games in Aspen, which was always, quite the spectacle and something really exciting. And then we'd hit the road and we would head to Europe for a couple of months. So I had the fortune and the opportunity to live in quite a few different countries. I spent a lot of time in Germany, a lot of time in Switzerland, and then we'd head up to Mount Hood and ski the glacier for probably about a month. And then it was time to head south of the equator where it was winter again. So I'd spend our summers in Chile, Argentina, and New Zealand. So we chased winter, and it was, some of the most incredible times of my life. I met incredible people. And like you said, it taught me everything I really needed to know, I think, for life in general. And I didn't even realize it at the time.
Yeah, no doubt. Wow, that's wonderful. It's such a young age too, to get those experiences. And any area stick out that you liked more than others, or just that, from something that you kind of resonated with?
Absolutely. So I really resonated with one-on-one coaching and the ability of, mentorship and coaching to really take you to the next level. So I was a slope style skier. So I primarily went off jumps and hit rails and would build a run out of that. And that was, my expertise, I would say. But being able to have someone that could kind of look over everything that I was doing in life, from nutrition to dryland training to what time was I getting on the mountain to, if I didn't land something, would I hike the jump and try it over again because I was showing dedication. If I wasn't doing those things, I needed accountability, and I needed someone to kind of point out my blind spots with skiing. And that would be what helped me to be successful, and B, hopefully not get too hurt. I did manage to blow 9 ACLs. So I had my fair share of injury, but I think something I really took to was coaching, and that has stayed with me through real estate. I have had a coach the entire time I've had my real estate license, which is about 8 years now, different coaches throughout. But being able to have those mentors, and even at Compass, we're both at Compass, we have incredible resources around us, but being able to look at someone that might have a different perspective than you and say, hey, where am I falling short, or what am I missing here in this situation? That is something that I learned from skiing 100%, the art of being coached.
Yeah, that's a great point. Sometimes, when you get to be, seasoned like I am, we think we know everything, or we know a lot, and we have to keep our ego in check and remember that, hey, there's a lot out there to learn. There's a lot to learn from different people, that on a daily basis, you can learn something new. And to have that mindset and, pick that up at a young age, I think is really good. Some people never pick it up, unfortunately, and some people pick it up later in life. So
I think we have encountered people that haven't learned it.
Yeah, for sure.
But especially in real estate, you're always, every single transaction is different. So like you said, we think you know it all at one point, and something else will come up that you absolutely don't. And it's nice to have people to say, hey, am I crazy? Or can you give me some insight onto this?
Oh, for sure. Before we shift over from skiing, is there anyone's story or something wild that happened, or maybe a memory that you have that you'd like to share about your career?
I would love to. The second you said that, something just popped into my head, so I'm going to go with it. I was, let's say, 17 years old, and I was at my first competition in Lach, Switzerland, and it was called the European Open. It was probably the biggest competition in Europe that I competed in and that there was at the time. And it was a very competitive event. There was probably 50 women from all over the world that were the best of the best, and only the top 6 would go on to finals. So I'd been training this course for days. It was probably one of the hardest I've ever skied. They actually had a rail, if you're familiar with rails in freestyle skiing, that were the shape of 2 chopsticks, and you had to jump from one chopstick to the other and slide them. And the day of the competition, it was pouring rain on the mountain. So everyone's nerves were high. The speed was different than it had ever been before. And I went up for my second run. My first run was good, but it wasn't going to be what got me into the finals. So I went up for my second run and I talked to my coach and I said, I need to pull something out that I've never done before. I need to try something new. Otherwise, my spot's going to be gone.
Would you be concerned that the rail was really slick since it was raining, or?
It was extremely slick. All of the conditions that we had been training for days were out the window. It was, all the speeds for the jumps were different. The rails were slick. It was scary for sure, but it was an opportunity to say, I know that I'm capable of doing hard things. And I say that a lot in life. I can do hard things. Just as an affirmation and a reminder when I'm terrified.
Plus, you've actually done it many times. So
true. It continues to be present in life. But I have this, I was taught visualization with skiing at a very young age. So I had this, I would say, ability, which I think anyone can gain, of if I could land a trick in my head, if I could see myself do it, that I would land it on snow. I said, hey, the third jump, which was the biggest jump, I need to do a 1080, and I'd never done one before. So I sat at the top of the run with my coach and I visualized myself doing a 1080. And sure enough, I landed it perfectly on the last jump. I got the 6th spot into the finals, and I actually bumped out my hero, my coach. She was a coach of mine right when I started. My hero, my mentor, everything. Her name was Sarah Burke. She's an extremely famous freestyle skier. She passed, unfortunately, but I got her 6th spot and she was my biggest cheerleader. And I went on to get top 5 in that event. And it was probably one of the best experiences of my life, because it was like every odd against doing well with the weather and just the level of competition. And I pulled it out. And to this day, I'm still smiling about it.
Oh, that's so awesome. 1080 is 3 times, right?
Correct. So yeah, 3 full
that's
spins.
Awesome. And to visualize that prior to, you hear lots of people talking about visualization, and you can do it in all different aspects of your life. Certainly a lot of professional athletes use that technique. But and to
Definitely.
have that and then actually be successful at it, I'm sure that's very satisfying. Well, it was, because it popped up in your head today. So
yeah, and it's something I try and use in real estate as well. And visualizing a listing presentation going well and getting the listing agreement signed. I think there's a lot of power in what we can do and achieve with our minds. And I honestly learned all of that from my background in athletics, and I'm extremely grateful.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of power in that. So growing up the way you did around residential developers, builders, interior designers, obviously that shaped your career and had some input on getting into real estate, I would imagine. And
Definitely.
how is your all of that background? How do you apply that today and measure the importance of that moving forward with getting listings, stagings, different things like that?
Absolutely. I'm extremely grateful for, at the time, I might not have been or realized how lucky I was, but I'm so grateful to have grown up around really all aspects of the home is what I like to say. My mom was an interior designer. She did all of the design for my dad's projects. You know, he was the developer, but also worked with the builders to coordinate everything. So I really had the unique opportunity of growing up immersed in every part of the transaction in real estate. And although I didn't think that I was going to be doing real estate in the future, I actually wanted to be an interior designer, and that's what I started off as. I realized that when I took a step back and thought about the things that I absolutely love in life and the things that I'm passionate about, it was, I love design and architecture in homes. I love people. I love being able to be a part of people's lives in a big way. And, you know, I like the opportunity to create. And I've gotten into doing some development with my dad here in Denver, which has just been kind of full circle and, you know, an incredible opportunity to learn from him. But when you look at what real estate is, it is so much more than just a transaction. And I love every single piece that goes into real estate, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I learned that absolutely by growing up in it. And it, you know, believe it or not, picking out finishes with my mom for hours came in handy, because now I'm doing the same thing and I really enjoy doing it, and they enjoy partaking in it with me. And it's been neat to grow up and be able to be a counterpart with my parents who have been doing it for, you know, decades now, and getting more and more into development. And I could absolutely say, had I not grown up in that atmosphere, that wouldn't be on the table. I don't think that my mind would go there.
Well, you have so much intrinsically, you have all that knowledge and stuff that's just there already, that you don't have to, you have an understanding of things. And certainly when you go into a home and look at it, you have a really good idea of how to stage it. And you know, in this market, how very, very important that is.
Crucial.
So it's like, check off all these boxes, all these things. And then it sounds like, you know, your desires for what a career offers, real estate does offer all of those things, you know, as far as being a big part of somebody's life and helping them achieve an objective moving forward, and plus helping them in your skill set. You know, you can make them more successful in the process of buying a home or selling a home. Very because true. Of your background and also your interest in people and helping them and appreciating them. So
yeah, no, I'm very grateful, and it's something I'll never take for granted. And, you know, like you said, we have the opportunity to really help our clients see beyond what the house might be as it is currently, whether it's, you know, a home that needs to be renovated, and we have the ability to paint that picture of what it could look like given some renovations, or whether we're helping our clients get a listing ready for sale and say, you know, we could do these tiny little tweaks and do a little bit of staging, and we're going to increase what you can sell your property for. So being able to use those skills to the benefit of our clients is something that I absolutely love.
Yeah, that's awesome. And all those things are necessary. And as we're in a changing market, it's good to be able to have that, to be able to communicate to people, and also be on top of how the market's changing and communicating with them as we move through. So what was it back in 2015 that finally pushed you to take that blind leap of faith, or the leap of faith, maybe not blind, to jump into real estate?
It was a little bit blind, to be totally honest with you. So I was working with an interior design firm at the time, and I just didn't feel creatively fulfilled necessarily. I was kind of behind a desk or behind a computer at a desk for the most part. And I had a really great girlfriend who is currently one of the most successful agents in the country. She's up in Bozeman, Montana, but she was in Denver at the time. And she said, Athena, you're more personable than I am. You like people, you love homes, you love design. Why don't you do real estate? And I kind of I almost laughed. I was like, I don't think I would be a great realtor. And she's like, please just meet with the owner of my company. I think you guys will really hit it off. You have the same energy. Meet with him and see what you think. So like the next day, I had the opportunity to have coffee with John Stegner, who's still one of my mentors. He's over at the New Era Group, part of Your Castle Real Estate in Colorado. And his energy and his why about why he loved real estate and how much he loved being a part of a transformational part of people's lives, it just captivated me. And I think more than even knowing anything about real estate, I really fell in love with the energy that he was putting out about, being able to be responsible for your own success again, and you get what you put in, and kind of a lot of the principles that I learned in skiing that I hadn't found yet in business. I kind of was missing my fit in business, I would say. I knew it in skiing, but I didn't know what the transition looked like. And after talking to him, I just said, I'm quitting my job tomorrow. And I did. I put in my 2 weeks the next day. I signed up for real estate school. I was actually getting ready for my last knee surgery, my 9th knee surgery. And when I was recovering from that, I got my real estate license. And I had 1 day to pass the test because I was leaving for Uganda the next day for a trip with my CU Boulder, basically. So I had one opportunity to pass it, and then I passed it, got back from Uganda, and started real estate full force.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. What a great story.
It was fun.
So you mentioned too that you're starting to do some development, and you like to, helping people move forward, whether they're old or young. How do you help home buyers build wealth, or how do you feel you can help them do that moving forward?
Absolutely. So this is one of my favorite things ever, because I am at that age. I'm 31. I'm at an age where a lot of my peers
A lot of wonderful years ahead of you, very successful years for sure.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm in a place where a lot of my peers are at that phase in their life where they're either buying their first homes or maybe needing to buy their second home because their families are growing. And I really love the opportunity to say, hey, let's take a step back and understand financially where we're at and how your money's going to work the best it possibly can for you. Whether that's, purchasing one property or you have the opportunity to buy an investment property. I usually set them up with my financial advisor to just discuss, how you're going to be setting yourself up for success when you're purchasing a home. It's a huge amount of money. What are you doing to replenish your accounts to make sure you're able to continue paying your mortgage and to set yourself up to buy investment properties or to buy a bigger property? So usually it's a conversation of how, what's your comfortability? How can we achieve financial freedom through real estate over the next maybe 10, 20 years? And make sure also that you have a diversified portfolio. I'm not here to just say, throw all your money into a house and be a little bit house poor and be stressed out every month. That is not what we want. We want to make sure that our home buyers are extremely comfortable and confident in their decision. And I think it's our job to really provide the tools and resources for them to make informed decisions. You and I talked a little before about market data. So being able to provide our clients with, hey, this is what the last 30 years have looked like in the Denver metro area in terms of what you can expect for appreciation. This is what it could look like if things turn down. This is what it could look like if things plateau. Just really preparing our clients for anything that could come. I think we're pretty lucky in our Denver, Boulder, and even mountain markets that we have a very healthy real estate market due to supply and demand. There's, always a plethora of people moving in and not quite enough homes to house them. So we are in a very fortunate position, and I want to make sure that my clients are capitalizing to the best that they can on that position.
Yeah, you're right. Colorado is it's a place people are always going to want to live here. It's just the natural beauty and the things to do. And what a great benefit or plus to have clients talk to a financial planner. That's a wonderful idea. We're looking at the stock market from the first of the years down, over 20%, and people dabbling with crypto and all kinds of different things. And real estate over time has certainly, proved out to be the best. So I like
Much
that
more
idea too.
stable.
Yeah, for sure. And to
Yeah.
diversify now, you're getting into other types of investing with real estate, with
Mhm.
developing and that sort of thing. So you have a wider, expanse of what's out there for people. So you can
Yeah.
visit with them about that.
I love
Yeah.
doing that. And, I've worked with some great investors who do some flips or buy-in holds. And one of my favorite things is when I meet a client that would love to have my design help on the back end. So, hey, I'm
For
buying
sure.
this really beat up property. Can you help me kind of breathe new life into it? And that really gets me excited. So being able to develop from the ground up now, it's definitely teaching me a lot. I will not skirt away from that. I'm learning a lot, but having that blank canvas has just been such a gift. I'm so excited.
The wonderful thing is too, at your age, you just, I see a lot of real estate brokers. You mentioned you're 31. Well, that's how old I was when I started selling real estate. And, sometimes real estate brokers don't buy real estate. They just sell. And pretty soon, I think to diversify now at your age, that's really amazing. So
yeah, I think too, in
kudos.
our position, being able to, when you haven't purchased, you don't quite understand the emotional roller coaster that really goes into it for your clients. So being able to go through that yourself, I think creates so much more relatability. And I think it's necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's a primary residence or investment or that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So since the podcast is about buying real estate in the foothills, can you talk about a time you helped a client buy or sell a mountain home and what insights you might share with someone considering a move to the foothills or a mountain community?
Yeah, I would love to speak about Breckenridge if that's okay, just
Oh,
because
sure. You bet.
that's kind of, my stomping grounds. Just even last year, I had the incredible opportunity to help some dear friends that are my clients here in Denver purchase a mountain home in Breckenridge. It was actually in Blue River, so it's not even, in Breckenridge proper, where you're on Breckenridge water and Breckenridge sewer. And oftentimes I think it gets misconstrued that you can sell a house anywhere just because you're a real estate agent. And when you're looking at purchasing in, really the foothills or any mountain community, there are so many differences and important items that one has to be knowledgeable about in order to properly guide their client and make sure that you're inspecting properly and doing your proper due diligence, whether it's, for the most part, the property that my friends just bought, we were on well and septic. So are you looking at the well permits? When was the last time it was inspected? When was the last time the septic system was inspected or emptied?
Sure. You certainly want to do, want to do those inspections on the well and the septic and surveys and different
radon
things.
levels.
Yeah,
I think
for
our
sure.
radon test came in at like 167, which in Denver, someone would have a heart attack over, but in
Really high.
Breckenridge is pretty common. So being able to guide your clients through a different set of hoops than they're probably used to as well, because if they've purchased in Denver or in any big city, it's quite a bit different than a mountain property. So I think it's really important to find an agent that has experience in those communities and has an idea of everything that we need to really check off the list to make sure that the property is in good shape for them to get in, because a failing septic system is not something that you want to pay for off the bat of buying a new property.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. And to your point also, Athena, in the city, agents specialize in certain areas and, they can help you if you're really zeroing in on a specific area and stuff as well. And because there's little idiosyncrasies everywhere. I think as we go through time in real estate, people are specializing. I mean, you can do the general gambit and be successful. There also are areas where people specialize in just certain communities and stuff. So
Absolutely.
that's a great point. So being a natural resource of Colorado, I know skiing's a big part of your life, but what else do you like to do in Colorado? Outdoor
Absolutely.
activities.
So
yeah.
I will say my biggest activity the last 4 years is I actually got diagnosed with Lyme disease. So I have lost quite a bit of my athletic ability temporarily. I've got a big old port in my chest and I get plasma transfusions every 2 weeks. So before that happened, I would run Red Rocks like almost every morning, run up the amphitheater stairs. I love going hiking. I'd do Conundrum over, Aspen and go to Crested Butte and do some hiking. I loved mountain biking. Now I really, really enjoy finding peace in yoga, like a lot more mellow activities, walking my dogs around Wash Park. I have 2 French bulldogs that are like my world. But right now, my hobby is just getting healthy and kind of getting my body working again. And honestly, I think the biggest gift has been having a job that gets me up that I love to do.
So how did you contract Lyme disease, and how do you get to the point to where do you get over it and you get through it with your therapy and what you're doing?
So Lyme is interesting. You get it from a tick bite. So I have no idea when I was bitten by a tick. My guess would probably be on the East Coast or the West Coast skiing at one point in life. And it kind of took over my immune system when I broke my neck skiing that was when I quit skiing, was when I broke my neck. I know. I've beat myself up a little bit. But Lyme disease attacks what you're genetically predisposed to. So it attacked my immune system, led to quite a few autoimmune diseases, which is why I'm doing plasma transfusions currently. And it's different for everyone, but the hopes for me is in the next year or two, my immune system will start replicating the immune system that they're putting into me. And then hopefully I will make a full recovery. And I feel like I get closer every day, but it's been, going from professional athlete to some days having a hard time getting out of bed has been a challenge. And I think real estate's been my constant. As cheesy as it may sound, it really has been my positive life force that keeps me excited about getting up every day.
Yeah, certainly not cheesy. I mean, what you're going through is pretty amazing. Being, a professional athlete and all, and now where you're at. So, well,
it's a journey.
I would feel very confident that it's all going to work out for you, and will certainly
keep
you in my thoughts for sure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. I really enjoyed our time together. And
I know, same.
Is there anything you'd like to add that maybe we didn't touch on?
I think that the only thing I would say is to anyone that is involved in real estate in any capacity, whether you're an agent or whether you're looking to buy, sell, invest, and I think this goes for life in general, is that things never quite go to plan. And that's really the plan, and that's okay. So going into every situation, every transaction, every interaction with an open mind and with flexibility to adapt according to the circumstance, and realize that everything will come together the way it should. I think oftentimes, at least for myself, I have a very planned out idea of what things are supposed to look like, what transactions should look like, what life should look like. And it never, life doesn't work that way.
No, it does not.
Being able to come in with an open mind and open heart and being able to pivot and adapt in every situation is really the best way to be. And it allows you to be more successful in any endeavor that you're going into.
Yeah, that's great. Especially real estate transaction. It's
right.
It's nice to be able to release attachment to perceived outcomes, how we think things should end.
Right. And it's taken me time.
Yeah, for sure. And you're doing very well.
Thank you.
So where can people go, Athena, if they want to learn more about you or touch base with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I will send you to my website, which is AthenaBrownsonRealtor.com. I'll spell that since my name's unique. AthenaBrownsonRealtor.com. And that has all my contact info, whether you'd like to grab a cup of coffee and chat real estate or chronic illness or anything in between. I would love to do that.
That's wonderful. That would certainly be a fulfilling conversation for anybody.
Yeah.
So, well, take care of yourself, Athena, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate you.
To the Foothills, a Colorado lifestyle and real estate podcast. On the podcast, I interview real estate experts, Colorado adventurers, and residents who enjoy the serenity and lifestyle of living in our mountain communities. Tune in each week for a conversation that explores the ins and outs of buying the perfect mountain home or selling your dream home, and catch a glimpse into the Colorado lifestyle that's a part of you.